In the vast emptiness of space, a storm was brewing. For centuries, the Zarkonian Empire had been growing stronger. They were tall, blue-skinned aliens with 4 arms and sharp teeth. Their warships looked like giant metal spiders crawling through the stars. The Zarkonians wanted to rule everything. They attacked peaceful planets one by one. Some fought back, but it was no use. The Zarkonians were too strong, too smart, and too cruel. On a small green planet called Nexus, the Philarians lived in fear. They were gentle creatures with soft purple fur and big eyes. They knew the Zarkonians were coming. "What can we do?" they asked each other. No one had an answer. Far away, on a blue and green planet called Earth, humans went about their daily lives. They worked in tall buildings, drove cars, and watched TV. They argued about politics and worried about the weather. They had no idea that a great war was happening in space. Back in space, the Zarkonian fleet approached Nexus. Their leader, General Vex, stood on the bridge of his flagship. He was the biggest and meanest of all Zarkonians. "Prepare to attack," he growled. His crew rushed to obey. On Nexus, the Philarians watched the sky turn dark. Huge Zarkonian ships blocked out the sun. "Please," the Philarian leader begged over the radio. "We surrender. Don't hurt us." General Vex laughed. It was an ugly sound. "Surrendering won't save you," he said. "Fire the weapons." Green beams of light shot from the Zarkonian ships. They hit cities and forests. Everything they touched turned to ash. The Philarians ran, but there was nowhere to hide. In just one day, it was over. Nexus became another conquered world in the Zarkonian Empire. General Vex smiled, showing all his sharp teeth. "Who's next?" he asked. His officers looked at star maps. They found a small solar system that no one had visited before. In it, there was a blue planet that looked rich with life. "Earth," General Vex said, tasting the word. "We'll go there next." The Zarkonian fleet turned towards the Milky Way galaxy. They didn't know that Earth would be different. They didn't know that humans would fight back in ways they couldn't imagine. On Earth, a young woman named Sarah looked up at the night sky. She saw a bright light moving fast. A shooting star, she thought, and made a wish. But it wasn't a star. It was a Zarkonian scout ship coming to study Earth. In the White House, the President of the United States got a strange report. "Sir," a general said, "our satellites have picked up something weird." He showed the President a blurry photo of a spaceship. The President's face turned pale. "Is this real?" he asked. The general nodded. "What do we do?" The President wondered out loud. In China, Russia, and other countries, leaders got similar reports. For the first time in history, all the nations of Earth had a common problem. Aliens were coming. As the humans started to worry, the Zarkonians got closer. General Vex looked at pictures of Earth. He saw oceans and mountains, cities and farms. He saw billions of humans living their lives. "This will be easy," he told his crew. "These humans know nothing about space travel. They can't stop us." But Vex was wrong. He didn't know about human courage or human cleverness. He didn't know that when things get tough, humans get tougher. The stage was set. Earth was about to face its biggest challenge. And the humans, they were about to surprise everyone, including themselves. The world changed on a Tuesday. It was a normal day until it wasn't. In New York, London, Beijing, and every city in between, people looked up and gasped. Huge ships filled the sky, blocking out the sun. Sarah, the young woman who had wished on a shooting star, stood in Times Square. Her mouth hung open as she stared at the alien ships. They were shaped like giant metal octopuses, their tentacles seeming to reach for the ground. Panic spread quickly. Cars crashed as drivers lost focus. People ran through the streets, some crying, others taking photos with their phones. The internet exploded with messages. "OMG, aliens are real. Is this the end?" In the White House, the President called an emergency meeting. Leaders from around the world joined by video. They'd all looked scared and confused. "What do we do?" asked the British Prime Minister. "Should we attack?" wondered the Russian president. "Wait," said the Chinese leader. "Let's see what they want first." As they talked, a message came from the alien ships. It appeared on every TV, phone, and computer screen in the world. The message showed a Zarkonian. Its blue skin and 4 arms shocked everyone who saw it. "People of Earth," the alien said in a deep, growling voice, "we are the Zarkonian Empire. Your planet is now ours. Surrender, and some of you may live to serve us. Resist, and you will all die." The message ended. The world fell silent for a moment. Then chaos broke out. In military bases around the globe, soldiers rushed to their stations. Pilots jumped into fighter jets. Ship captains ordered their crews to battle stations. But everyone wondered, how do you fight an enemy from space? General Vex watched from his ship. He expected the humans to give up right away. But something strange happened. The humans didn't surrender. Instead, they got ready to fight. In a small town in Texas, a farmer named Joe grabbed his old rifle. "I ain't bowing to no 4-armed blue freaks," he said to his wife. All across America, people like Joe prepared to defend their homes. In Japan, a young computer expert named Hiroshi began hacking. He wanted to find a way into the alien systems. "Technology is technology," he muttered. "It can be hacked." In Kenya, a tribal elder gathered his people. "We have faced many challenges," he told them. "This is just one more. We will survive." The Zarkonians were confused. General Vex frowned as he watched the humans. "Why aren't they scared?" he asked his officers. "Don't they know we can destroy them easily?" What Vex didn't understand was human spirit. Humans had fought each other for thousands of years. Now, faced with an alien threat, they started to come together. World leaders agreed to work as one. Ancient enemies put aside their fights. For the first time in history, Earth was united. The President of the United States made a speech. It was broadcast to every corner of the planet. "My fellow humans," she said, her voice strong and clear. "We faced the greatest threat in our history, but we will not go quietly. We will not surrender. We are humanity, and we will fight." Cheers erupted around the world. In every country, in every language, humans shouted their defiance. General Vex heard the noise. He saw the humans preparing for war. For the first time, he felt a flicker of doubt. "These creatures are strange," he thought. "This might not be as easy as we thought." As the sun set on that historic day, both sides prepared for battle. The Zarkonians readied their advanced weapons. The humans gathered whatever they had: guns, tanks, planes, and their unbreakable will. The stage was set. The war for Earth was about to begin, and the aliens were about to learn that humans don't give up easily. In New York, Sarah found herself in the middle of the chaos. As alien troops marched down Broadway, she didn't run. Instead, she picked up a fallen police officer's radio. "They're coming down 42nd Street," she yelled, warning others. The Zarkonians were surprised. Humans didn't have fancy space guns, but they were creative. In Paris, chefs threw boiling oil from restaurant windows. In Rio, soccer fans used their stadium's big screens to blind alien soldiers. General Vex watched from his ship, frowning. "Why aren't they surrendering?" he growled. His officers had no answer. Meanwhile, in a secret lab in Switzerland, scientists worked nonstop. They studied a captured alien weapon. "If we can understand it, we can fight it," said Dr. Emma Chen, her eyes red from lack of sleep. Across the world, humans showed incredible bravery. In London, bus drivers used their vehicles to block alien tanks. In Mumbai, Bollywood stunt performers led daring raids on Zarkonian camps. Joe, the Texas farmer, organized his neighbors. They used tractors and combines to confuse alien sensors. "Ain't no space bug gonna take my land," Joe said, spitting on the ground. In Japan, Hiroshi made a breakthrough. He cracked the alien communication code. "We can listen to their plans now," he said, grinning despite his exhaustion. The Zarkonians couldn't understand it. Humans were weaker with primitive technology. But they kept fighting, kept surviving. A week into the war, something amazing happened. In battle after battle, humans started winning. They used odd tactics the Zarkonians couldn't predict. In Egypt, people used the ancient pyramids to trap alien ships. In Australia, surfers rode huge waves to sneak up on Zarkonian beach camps. Canadian hockey players used their sticks to fight off alien troops in the snow. General Vex was furious. How? He shouted at his officers. How are they doing this? The answer was simple. Humans were adaptable. They learned fast and never gave up. Dr. Chen's team made a big discovery. They found a way to shut down Zarkonian force fields. "It's not perfect," she said, "but it's a start." World leaders met again. This time, they weren't scared. They were determined. "We're not just defending now," said the Indian Prime Minister. "It's time to push them back." The plan was bold. While Zarkonians focused on big cities, small teams would sneak onto their ships. Hiroshi's code breaking helped them avoid detection. Sarah found herself on one of these teams. As she crept through an alien ship, she thought, "A week ago, I was just wishing on stars. Now I'm fighting on one." The mission was dangerous, but it worked. All around the world, Zarkonian ships started falling from the sky. General Vex couldn't believe it. "Impossible," he yelled, watching his mighty fleet crumble. For the first time, he felt fear. As news of victory spread, humans celebrated. But they knew the war wasn't over. There were still many Zarkonian ships in space. Joe looked up at the sky, his rifle ready. "They thought we'd be easy to beat," he said to his wife. "Guess they don't know humans very well." In her lab, Dr. Chen kept working. "We've surprised them once," she said. "Let's see what else we can do." Around the world, humans prepared for the next phase of the war. They had proven themselves stronger than anyone, even themselves, had imagined. General Vex called his top commanders. "We need a new strategy," he admitted. "These humans, they're not like any species we faced before." As the sun set on another day of battle, both sides knew one thing. This war was far from over. But now, the aliens were the ones trembling in fear. 3 months into the war, both sides were tired. Humans had surprised the Zarkonians, but the aliens still had better technology. The fight wasn't over. General Vex called a big meeting on his main ship. "We must crush the humans now," he told his officers. "We'll attack their biggest city all at once." The Zarkonians chose New York for their big attack. They thought destroying it would break human spirit. But Hiroshi, the Japanese hacker, heard their plans. He sent a warning to world leaders. "They're coming to New York," he said. "All of them." The president called an emergency meeting. "This is our chance," she said. "If we beat them here, we can win the war." Sarah, now a key fighter, joined the meeting. "We need a trick," she said. "Something they won't expect." Dr. Chen had an idea. "We can't beat their technology," she said, "but we can use it against them." The plan was risky. They would let the Zarkonians attack New York, but the city would be empty. Instead, it would be full of traps. Joe, the Texas farmer, arrived with his team. "We'll give these aliens a real New York welcome," he said, grinning. As the Zarkonians approached, the city looked normal. But underground, humans waited. They had special weapons made from alien tech. The battle started at midnight. Zarkonian ships filled the sky. General Vex watched from his command ship. Finally, he thought, "We'll win." But as soon as the aliens landed, things went wrong for them. Streets turned into sticky traps. Buildings transformed into giant electromagnets, pulling in Zarkonian ships. Joe and his team popped out of manholes, using alien guns against their owners. Sarah led a group that climbed onto Zarkonian ships, planting human-made viruses in their computers. In Central Park, a surprise waited. The zoo animals, led by clever humans, charged at the confused aliens. Elephants trumpeted, lions roared, and even the penguins joined in, sliding into alien legs. General Vex couldn't believe his eyes. "What is happening?" he yelled. His beautiful plan was falling apart. High above the city, Dr. Chen worked on the biggest trick. Using adjusted alien technology, she created a giant force field around New York. Zarkonian ships couldn't escape. The battle raged for hours. Humans popped up from subways, sewers, and secret tunnels. They fought with everything they had: alien weapons, baseball bats, and even hot dog carts. By dawn, the impossible had happened. The mighty Zarkonian fleet was in ruins. Alien soldiers surrendered in groups, amazed by human cleverness and bravery. Sarah stood in Times Square, tired but proud. She looked at the wrecked alien ships and smiled. "I guess they shouldn't have picked New York to mess with," she said. General Vex's ship was the last to fall. Joe himself led the team that captured the alien leader. "Welcome to Earth," Joe said, as Vex was led away in handcuffs. As news of the victory spread, the world celebrated. Humans had won the biggest battle in their history. They beat an enemy from space using brains, bravery, and teamwork. The president made another speech. "Today, we showed the universe what humans can do," she said. "We faced our greatest threat and turned it into our finest hour." But the war wasn't over yet. Many Zarkonian ships were still in space. However, something had changed. Now, the aliens were scared of humans. In a prison cell, General Vex fought hard. He had lost many battles on many planets, but he had never seen anything like these humans. For the first time, he wondered if the Zarkonian Empire had finally met its match. As the sun rose on a new day, Earth prepared for the next phase of the war. Humans were ready to take the fight to the stars. The galaxy was about to learn a big lesson. Never underestimate the human spirit. The victory in New York changed everything. Humans weren't just defending Earth anymore. Now, they were ready to fight back in space. Dr. Chen and her team worked day and night. They studied captured Zarkonian ships. "We can fly these," she said, her eyes shining with excitement. World leaders met again. This time, they talked about exploring the galaxy. "We're not alone out there," the president said. "Maybe we can find friends." Sarah was chosen to lead the first human space mission. She stood in front of a Zarkonian ship, now painted with Earth's flags. "I never thought I'd be an astronaut," she said, laughing. Joe volunteered to go too. "Space can't be that different from Texas," he said, adjusting his cowboy hat. Hiroshi joined as the tech expert. "I've hacked their systems from Earth," he said. "Imagine what I can do up close." The first human space fleet left Earth a month later. People all over the world watched and cheered. Humans were going to the stars. As they flew into deep space, they saw amazing things: beautiful nebulas, giant stars, and strange planets. But they also saw signs of war. Many worlds had been hurt by the Zarkonians. On a planet called Xenon, they found their first allies. The Xenonites were tall, skinny aliens with silver skin. They were hiding from the Zarkonians. "You fought the blue ones?" a Xenonite leader asked, his big eyes wide with surprise. "We sure did," Joe said, grinning. "Gave 'em a good old Texas welcome." The Xenonites were amazed. They had powerful technology, but were peaceful. They didn't know how to fight. "Can you teach us?" they asked. Sarah had an idea. "We'll teach you to fight," she said. "And you can teach us about your technology." This was the start of the Galactic Alliance. As humans traveled further, they met more aliens who wanted to join. Each species had something special to offer. The Florians, plant-like aliens, could grow living spaceships. The Quantums, small blue beings, understood space better than anyone. The Rockites, who looked like walking stones, were great builders. Human leaders worked with alien leaders. They made plans to fight the Zarkonians together. It wasn't always easy. Some aliens thought humans were too violent. Some humans didn't trust the aliens. But Sarah, Joe, and Hiroshi showed everyone how to work together. "We're all different," Sarah said at a big meeting. "But we all want to be free." Humans surprised their new allies. They came up with battle plans no one had thought of before. "Why don't we use the asteroids as hiding spots?" Joe suggested, thinking of how he used to hide behind rocks to surprise coyotes. Hiroshi worked with alien tech experts. Together, they created new weapons and defenses. "Human creativity and alien technology," Hiroshi said. "The Zarkonians won't know what hit them." Dr. Chen led a team that mixed human and alien medical knowledge. They found ways to heal all kinds of species. "In this alliance," she said, "everyone takes care of each other." The Galactic Alliance grew stronger every day. Ships from 100 worlds trained together. They prepared for the biggest battle yet. Back on Earth, humans looked at the night sky differently now. Those stars weren't just pretty lights anymore. They were new friends, new adventures, and new hopes. In his prison, General Vex heard about the Alliance. For the first time in his life, he felt real fear. "What have we awakened?" he wondered. As the Alliance prepared for war, Sarah stood on the bridge of her ship. She looked at her crew, humans and aliens working side by side. "You know," she said to Joe, "I think the galaxy just got a lot more interesting." Joe nodded, his cowboy hat sitting oddly on his spacesuit. "Yep," he said. "And a lot safer too, thanks to us humans." The stars twinkled outside. Somewhere out there, the Zarkonians were waiting. But now, they weren't facing just humans. They were facing a united galaxy. And it all started because humans refused to give up. The day of the big attack had come. The Galactic Alliance gathered its forces near a giant red star. Ships of all shapes and sizes filled the space. It was the largest fleet ever seen in the galaxy. Sarah stood on the bridge of the flagship, named Earth's Hope. She looked at the colorful mix of aliens and humans working together. "Are we ready?" she asked. Joe checked the weapon systems. "Ready as we'll ever be," he said, tipping his space cowboy hat. Hiroshi sat at a complex computer station. "All systems connected," he reported. "Every ship can talk to each other." The plan was bold. They would attack the heart of the Zarkonian Empire, their home planet, Zarkon Prime. It was a dangerous mission, but it could end the war. Dr. Chen's voice came over the radio from her medical ship. "Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth now," she said. "We're fighting for every free world." The fleet jumped into hyperspace. Using technology the Quantums had shared. In seconds, they were near Zarkon Prime. The planet was huge and covered in metal cities. "Look at the size of that thing," Joe exclaimed. But the Alliance was ready. Florian ships, grown from living plants, released spores that confused Zarkonian sensors. Rocket crews in sturdy ships led the charge, smashing through the first line of defense. Human pilots, flying mix and match ships of Earth and alien tech, darted between enemy fighters. They used moves no one in space had seen before: loop-de-loops, barrel rolls, and things that looked like cosmic rodeo tricks. Sarah coordinated the attack. "Xenon ships, target their command centers," she ordered. "Earth bombers, take out those weapon platforms." The space around Zarkon Prime turned into a light show of laser fire and explosions. Alliance ships danced through the chaos, working together in perfect harmony. But the Zarkonians fought hard. They had ruled the galaxy for centuries and wouldn't give up easily. Giant warships emerged from hiding spots behind moons. "We've got trouble," Hiroshi yelled, as alarms blared. For a moment, it looked bad for the Alliance. But then Joe had an idea. "Hey," he said, "remember that trick we pulled in New York?" Sarah's eyes lit up. "Hiroshi, can you hack their big ships like we did in Manhattan?" Hiroshi grinned. "Just watch me." Suddenly, Zarkonian warships started firing on each other. Their computers were confused, seeing friends as enemies. Chaos spread through the Zarkonian fleet. On the planet below, General Vex watched in horror. He had been freed by loyal soldiers, but now he wished he was back in his cell on Earth. How? He roared. How are they beating us? The answer was simple. Teamwork. Each species in the Alliance brought something special. Humans brought their never-give-up spirit and crazy ideas. Together, they were unbeatable. As the battle raged, Alliance ground troops landed on Zarkon Prime. Leading them was Joe, wearing his cowboy boots over his spacesuit. Yeehaw! He shouted, charging into the alien city. The Zarkonian defenses crumbled. Years of easy victories had made them soft. They weren't ready for the combined might of a free galaxy. In the capital city, Sarah faced General Vex. The alien leader looked smaller now, his confidence gone. "How did you do this?" he asked. Sarah smiled. "We did it together," she said. "Something you Zarkonians never learned." As the sun set on Zarkon Prime, the impossible had happened. The mighty Zarkonian Empire had fallen. And it all started because some humans on a small blue planet refused to surrender. Cheers erupted across the Alliance fleet. Aliens and humans hugged and danced. They had done it. They had won. But as Sarah looked out at the celebrating crowd, she knew this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. The galaxy was open to them now, full of wonders and new friends to meet. "So," Joe said, walking up to her, "where do we go next?" Sarah grinned. "Everywhere, Joe. We go everywhere." 5 years had passed since the fall of the Zarkonian Empire. The galaxy was a very different place now. Peace had spread across the stars, and Earth had become a key player in galactic affairs. Sarah stood on a balcony in the new Galactic Council building. It was a beautiful structure that combined styles from 100 worlds. She watched ships from different planets come and go. "Still can't believe it sometimes, can you?" Joe said, walking up beside her. He still wore his cowboy hat, even with his fancy ambassador uniform. Sarah shook her head. "From wishing on stars to helping run the galaxy, it's been quite a ride." Inside the council chamber, representatives from all Alliance worlds gathered. Humans sat next to Xenonids. Florians chatted with Rockites, and even some reformed Zarkonians joined in. Hiroshi, now the head of Galactic Communications, called the meeting to order. "Today," he said, "we celebrate 5 years of peace and progress." Dr. Chen, looking older but still energetic, presented her latest work. "We found ways to heal planets damaged by war," she said. "Soon, worlds the Zarkonians hurt will be green again." The council discussed new laws to keep the peace. They talked about exploring unknown parts of the galaxy. Everyone had ideas, and everyone listened to each other. It was so different from the old days of Zarkonian rule. But not everything was perfect. Some worlds still didn't trust each other. Some people worried that humans had too much power now. "We must remember what brought us together," Sarah said, addressing the council. "It wasn't just fighting the Zarkonians. It was learning to work together, to see the best in each other." As the meeting ended, news came from the galaxy's edge. A ship had returned from deep space exploration. They had found something amazing. "There's another galaxy out there, full of life," the explorer reported, "and they want to meet us." Excitement filled the council chamber. A whole new galaxy to explore and make friends with. But some worried too. What if these new aliens were dangerous? Joe stood up. "Now hold on, folks," he said in his Texas drawl. "Remember when we humans first met y'all? You were pretty scared of us too. But look how that turned out." His words calmed everyone down. They realized he was right. Fear of the unknown had caused many problems in the past. They wouldn't make that mistake again. The council voted to send a grading mission to the new galaxy. Sarah was chosen to lead it. "We'll go in peace," she said, ready to make new friends. As preparations began, Earth celebrated its new role in the universe. In New York, Where the war had turned, a new statue stood in the harbor. It showed a human hand and many alien hands, all clasped together. Schools on Earth now taught kids about alien cultures. Humans could take vacations on distant worlds, and aliens came to Earth to learn human things like music, art, and even cow-tipping. Joe's idea. General Vex, the former Zarkonian leader, was released from prison. He had learned a lot. Now, he worked to help planets heal from the war he had caused. Humans taught me that it's never too late to change, he often said. As Sarah prepared for the mission to the new galaxy, she visited Earth one last time. She stood in the field where she had once wished on a star, thinking it was just a shooting star. We've come so far, she thought, but our greatest adventures are still ahead. The next day, as her ship prepared to leave, Sarah looked at her crew. Humans and aliens stood side by side, ready to face the unknown together. "Ready for a new adventure?" she asked. Everyone cheered. The ship lifted off, heading towards new stars, new friends, and new challenges. The galaxy had changed forever, and it all started because humans, when faced with their greatest fear, had shown their greatest strength. Now that strength would lead them to wonders they had never imagined, in a universe full of possibilities.